Hi, I'm Wendy, one of the founders of the Oregon Pain Action Group. I'm joined by Eve behind the camera, who is another founder, and Amara, advocate, in the editing room, who is another founder. This is the first in the series where we will expose discrepancies from this year's Chronic Pain Task Force meetings. Oregon has become a battleground for chronic pain patients who are tirelessly working to preserve their rights to appropriate medical treatment. In an effort to expose corruption, we will do a series of short videos complete with video and audio clips and sometimes literature, and we ask you to decide. For those of you new to the fight in Oregon, welcome. I'll give you a brief explanation of Oregon's Chronic Pain Task Force. The Oregon Health Authority is the government agency in Oregon. It was established to oversee Oregon's health-related programs. OHA has various commissions, such as the Health Evidence Review Commission, HERC, who are in charge of reviewing medical evidence in order to prioritize health spending for the Oregon Health Plan, which is Oregon's Medicaid, and to promote evidence-based medical practice statewide. HERC created the Chronic Pain Task Force to create coverage limits on its prioritized list for chronic pain patients. The prioritized list establishes what Medicaid will and won't pay for. So I have a little visual here because it's sometimes hard to understand all these different names for organizations. So here's the Oregon Health Authority. Underneath is HERC, Health Evidence Review Commission. They have 3 subcommittees, but the one that we're dealing with is the value-based subcommittee. And the Chronic Pain Task Force, which is HERC's Chronic Pain Task Force, is under HERC as well. So this is just a visual to help you to understand how the hierarchy works. So the Chronic Pain Task Force is currently working on a proposal for Medicaid patients, making changes to coverage on their previously passed back and spine lines and Note 60. Some of their changes are that they would bring fibromyalgia above the line, which is a great thing. They would allow alternative treatments for painful medical conditions that are above the line. They would limit opioids up to a 90-day supply with several restrictions, including allowing a maximum of a 7-day prescription even after a major surgery. And there would be no opioid therapy after 90 days, no chronic opioid therapy, which is basically the same thing because once you hit 90 days of opioid use, it becomes classified as chronic. So, and there are no opioid prescriptions for a flare. So to summarize this, it's a forced taper of all chronic pain patients currently on chronic opioid therapy except for cancer patients and palliative care patients at the end of their life, tapering them to 0 opioids within a maximum of a year and giving them alternative treatments such as acupuncture and behavioral therapy and mindfulness instead of their prescription analgesics. Earlier this year, we inquired about the activities of the task force, but we're told not to waste our time investigating them. That was from a patient representative on the task force, in fact. But going off of a hunch, we attended the June meeting where we heard some very disturbing plans. In this first segment of You Decide, we will look at a specific request asked of the task force and we will see what their response was. During this video, ask yourself, is the Chronic Pain Task Force being honest? Are they concerned about the effect their proposal will have on the people they serve? Are they biased? Are they misleading with their answers? You decide. Because of the lack of representation for chronic pain patients on chronic opioid therapy, the chronic pain patients in Oregon have been requesting that the task force add members to represent them to their task force. Currently, some task force members include acupuncturists, chiropractors, a physical therapist, a psychologist, and pharmacist. There are pain specialists on the task force, but they specialize in addiction. So their expertise is about dealing with people who are addicted to chronic opioids. In the meeting on August 9th, 2018, Patrick Starnes, who is running for governor in Oregon on the independent ticket, made a formal request. He asked the task force to add 2 members that represent the chronic pain patients. He asked for a chronic pain patient and one of their doctors who prescribe ongoing chronic pain therapy. Here is that meeting and his request.
From this community, I can't help but recognize these people are not here on this list.
Yep.
Nor are there,
Not minimum.
nor are there health providers. They need to be there, and since their next meeting is September 20th, I want you to do anything you can do to put some pressure to have those 2 seats. Because as you go to their comments, if you would, Ariel, the public comments that they posted up there, those could have been included earlier, right? If those two seats had been at that table. Mm-hmm. So I just really, being a system analyst kind of person, you've got the cart before the horse here, and you really need to get, and I really appreciate you guys postponing any decisions, because this is crucial that these folks have a voice, and that's why I've stepped up as a voice for the voiceless on other issues too. But I just really, it's important that they have a seat at that table, or at least their care providers do. And thanks for...
During the September 20, 2018 meeting, Ariel Smith, who is the lead member of the Chronic Pain Task Force and medical director of HERC, states that she has received requests to add members, and her response will be seen on the next clip.
So we have a couple of new members. We've been sort of hearing a testimony and realized that we needed a little bit more expertise in certain areas on the task force. So we've been, we had various requested various specialists and groups to see if they would want to join us. And we are really happy to have Lisa Boyle, who's here. She's joining us. She is a pharmacist who works with PAs, so she's going to give us some expertise on anything that we want to do with pharmacy, PAs, restrictions, and things like that. She'll be able to help us know what's doable and what is not. Also, hopefully on the phone is Dr. Amanda RISSER. She works with pain folks over at the Richmond Clinic and has a lot of expertise in treating folks who have chronic pain and using opioids, and especially women who are pregnant. It's her expertise. So we're really happy that they can join us.
I'm Ariel Smith. I'm the medical director for the Health Evidence Review Commission. And I need to apologize. I forgot to introduce one other new member who will be joining us on the phone in about a half an hour, from Dr. Jessica Gregg from OHSU, their pain service. So I apologize, Dr. Gregg, if you're on the line.
Notice that her answer is in response to the request to add a chronic pain patient and their doctor. Watch this next clip.
I was at the last meeting in August, Ariel, and I was the one that requested that you have 2 seats added to this table, one being a chronic pain legacy patient and maybe one of their care providers. So I was sort of insulted when 2 seats were added to your panel, Chronic Pain Task Force, and they were not a chronic pain patient or their provider. So I took that almost as a personal assault, because I asked specifically for them to be added 2 seats, and now there's 2 seats added, and it wasn't those people. So that's the outside perspective.
Dr. RISSER is a chronic pain provider. She provides.
Okay, great. 1 seat. All right, good. So half that.
And same with Dr. Gregg.
Yeah. So we still need to.
Great. So just to clarify, they did in fact add 3 people, not 2. One is a pharmacist, so obviously she can't prescribe medication. And then there's Dr. Jessica Gregg and Dr. Amanda RISSER. We will have their biographies for you to explore to see what you think of their qualifications to represent chronic pain patients. You have the evidence. Did the Chronic Pain Task Force try to include our ideas and our suggestions? Did they give us a seat at the table? Were they answering our requests appropriately with an unbiased outlook for the pure motive of helping Oregon Medicaid population? You decide.